All right, so here you go, your Unit 6 review. I'm going to go over this kind of quick. I'm not going to go over every problem. I'm only going to go over the most important problems that will be on your test. So like this right here will be on your test. So how do I do it? You read it, and you determine, is it in y equals mx plus b form or ax plus by, so standard form. But notice all your answer choices. Because this is a one-time fee, that's your y-intercept. Because this is the cost per month, that's your rate of change, that's your slope. All right. This one right here, this won't be on your test, but it's just kind of a reminder of what type of correlation. 0.42 is a weak positive. We haven't talked about casual, so that doesn't matter. This one's a good one. Two ways you can do this. You can, option one, you can change this to y equals mx plus b, like I did here, then graph it, and then what you do is you take each point, plug it, make sure it's in the shaded area, or you can take each one of these points, option two, plug it in, and plug it in, and if you get a true statement, that's your answer. If you get a false statement, that's not your answer. So like here's my graph. What are my points? 0, 2. So 0, 2 is right here. That is not a solution. -3, 5. -3, 5 is right here. That is a solution. -1, 1. -1, 1. Not a solution. And 4, 0. Bam. Anytime you're on a dotted line, that can never be your solution. It has to be a solid line. All right, so this is going to be your answer A or B. All right, next. Which one has a solution of 2? You have to just solve those for them to be solving for x. So I'll do this one right here to show you. So you have -5x minus 3 equal -7x minus 4 plus 1. And then you distribute, right? Bam, bam. So you have a -7x minus 7 equal to -5x minus 3. Combine like terms. This and this are the same. This and this are the same. So I'm going to do a plus 7x plus 7x. So that gives me 2x plus 3 plus 3. So that gives me 4. So x equals 2. X equals 2. But we're looking for a -2. So this can't be it. Keep doing each one like that until you find the answer. This one right here, right, to go from here to here, what do you think it is? What operation? This right here, all you have to do is change them to slope-intercept form and graph them. This one right here should be pretty easy. I'm not going to go over that one. I'll go over this one. Choose the correct answer from the drop menu below. So we're talking about two brothers, Giannis and Francis, are riding bikes home at the same time. Giannis rides his bike home from basketball practice, and Francis rides his bike home from music lessons. All right, so we want to know, what does it say? The graph below shows the distance, the brothers' distance from home, x minutes, after they began riding their bikes. Choose the correct answer from the drop-down menu to create the following statement. Giannis and Francis are both blank miles away from home. Where is miles away from home? Here is miles away from home. So we're looking for the y value, where they cross. So what is that y value where they cross? 0.6. This miles away from home, right? So which means minutes. This is your y value here, which means minutes after they begin riding. That's your x value. So what is this right here? It's going to be 3. 3 minutes after they started riding home. All right, here's the next one right here. It was a little confusing. At Friday's football game, you have this many tickets sold, and this is the total amount. So right now we have two total amounts. Here are your two totals. So this number represents tickets. This represents money. All right, each student ticket costs $5. Each adult ticket costs $8. How many student tickets and adult tickets were purchased? All right, so if we're talking about tickets, we need to have tickets on this side. No money, just tickets. So S and A, that's student and adults. Now, if we're talking about money here, we need to be introducing money here. And we know each adult ticket costs $8 and each student ticket costs $5. Now, 3 ways you can solve this. You can graph it to figure out where these two lines cross, right? And then that's your solution. Or you can substitute, get one of these letters by themselves. So like S equals 1294 minus A. And then you would plug this part right here, right? You would substitute, and then you can solve it that way. Or you can use elimination, which I'm going to use because it's probably the fastest right now. Elimination, what do you want to do? You want to look for the letter that has the same coefficient, same number in front, but opposite signs. This one does not have the same, so we're going to make it happen. I'm going to get rid of my S. So if I want the same number in front, opposite signs, I need to multiply by a -5 and a -5. All right, so then we keep going, keep going, keep going. Get my calculator real quick. This time this will be negative 5s. I know they look the same, sorry. This time this will be a negative 5a. And then we got 1294 times negative 5. This would be a negative 6470. All right, now we're going to add straight down. That goes away. This will give you negative 3a, sorry, positive 3a, equal to, what is that going to be? Plus 8, 816, bam. 2, 3, 4, 6. And we're going to divide both sides by 3. So A is equal to 782. So that's how many adult tickets you should have. Now that we have that, we want to substitute this number back into one of my equations, the easiest one typically, so that we can find my other value. So like I'm going to plug this number back into this original equation. All right, so instead of writing A, I'm going to write 782. So now we have S is equal to, or sorry, S plus 782 equal to 1294. My writing's off. And then we want to solve for S. Subtract 782, subtract 782. S is equal to, is that minus 1294, 512. Bam. All right. This one right here, a small business restores 55-inch TVs and 65-inch TVs. So I'm going to just call this X and Y. Those are my two things I'm talking about. It takes 4 hours to restore a 5-inch TV, so 55. So it takes 4X, okay, and 5 hours to restore a 65-inch TV, so 5Y. This is 5Y right here. The company has 20 hours of restoration. This means they can't go over the 20 hours, right? So that's the max that they have. Max hours, max. Okay, so that means we have 4X plus 5Y, right? This right here has to be equal to or less than 20 hours because the company can't do that. All right, so there's my equation. So then how do we do this? It'll be 4X plus 5Y is going to be less than or equal to 20. All right, so then scroll down. Let me see, make sure I have those options. Let's try to make sure this one works. Why is this? Oh, we have those symbols. That's weird. All right, sorry. All right, next, what we need to do is we need to graph this. And the easiest way to graph this, again, is we can change it to y equals mx plus b. Oops. So you got 4x plus 5y. And we're going to say to 20. Change it to y equals mx plus b. Or you can just use the x and y intercepts, which is I'm going to use. So if I was looking for my x-intercept, I would say 4x, bam, 20. So x is 5. So x is 5. So here's my intercept. And if I was looking for my y-intercept, I would say 5y, 20. Divide both sides by 5. This is 4. Bam. And then what type of line does this get? A solid line. Bam. And then what type of shading? So in order for us to figure out the shading, we want to take a point and plug it in. If I get a true statement, it's, so like, let's take 0, 0. 0, 0 is on my left, on the bottom side. So if I plug in a 0 here, and I plug in a 0 here, oops. Man, sorry, 0 and a 0. We know this whole side goes to 0, right? This whole side is just 0. Is 0 less than 20? True, that side 0 is less than 20, which means we want to shade on that side. If I got a false statement, we shade on the opposite side. All right. Domain, I'm not going to go over. Range is how high and how low. This one's just going to be 4 because you should have a, when you graph this, this is a solid line going like this, right? So your range, it doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, it's just 4. This one, plug in a Desmos, figure that out. And then here's the last one I'll go over before I close this video. All right, so it says a fundraiser as a high school. Sorry, as a fundraiser, a high school Dungeons and Dragons club plans to sell weaponry. The company is producing weapons that will charge $150 for the design and setup costs, and then $5 per javelin. So this looks like a y equals mx plus b to me, right? Here's your y-intercept, and then here's your slope. So right now we have y is equal to 5x plus 150. The club also decides to sell the javelins for $10 each. So this is y equals 10x, okay? How many javelins do they need to sell to break even? So we need to graph both of these and figure out where these two lines cross. Graph them, figure out where they cross, and I'll tell you it's going to be 30. Find their intersection. That's the solution. And then what is a 0? All right, that's it.